Hi everyone, I'm Kunjambu Ajay from DKM3C and my matrix number is 08DKM19F1076. Today I would like to present about viscous hardness test. Okay, the theory and introduction about viscous is the viscous hardness test was developed by R. Smith and Sandland in 1921 at Vickers Ltd as an alternative to Brinell hardness test method to measure the hardness of the material. The Vickers hardness test follows the Brinell principle in that an indenter of definite shape is presented into the material to be tested, then the load is removed and the diagonals of the resulting indentation are measured from this. The hardness number is calculated by dividing the load by the surface area of indentation. Okay, the principle used in Vickers hardness test is the indenter is made of diamond and is in the form of square based pyramid with an angle of 1360 between faces. The faces of diamond indenter are highly polished and the point is sharp. The loads applied vary from 1 to 120 kg. The standard loads are 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 and 120 kg. For most hardness testing, 50 kg is maximum. Okay, the next is implementation. The angle between the two faces of diamond indenter used in Vickers hardness test is 136 degrees and the faces makes an angle of 22 degrees with horizontal. The HV number is then determined by the ratio F over A, where F is the force applied to the diamond in kilograms, force, and A is the surface area of the indentation in square millimeters. A can be determined by the formula A equals to D square divided by 2 sine in bracket 136 degrees divided by 2. Okay, by eliminating the sine term we get A equals to D square divided by 1.8544. Okay, then the corresponding unit of HV are then kilograms force per square millimeter kgf over per mm. To calculate Vickers hardness number using SI units, we must convert the force applied from kilogram to force to newtons by multiplying by 9.80665 standard gravity and the individual and then dividing by 1000 to get the answer in GPa. This will lead to the following equation that can be used to do any calculation directly. Okay, next. Vickers values are not dependent of the test force. They will be same of 500 GF and 500 kgf as long as the force is at least 200 CF. The thin samples indentation depth can be an issue due to substrate effects. In other way indent depth can be calculated according to. Okay, then it shows the example of HV values for various materials. Okay, then to test specimen, the test should be carried out on a surface which is smooth, even, free from oxide, foreign matter and lubricants. The thickness of the test piece of the layer under test shall be at 1.5 times the diagonal length of the indentation. Okay, when doing the hardness test, the distance between indentation and the distance from the indentation to the edge of the specimen must be taken into account. These minimum distance are different for ISO 6507007-01 and ASTM E384 standards. Okay, next, the objective is to determine the indentation hardness of mild steel, brass, aluminum, and etc. using Vickers hardness testing machine. The apparatus used are Vickers hardness testing machine. Okay, then the first step is type of indenter used is diamond cone indenter with square base pyramid shape. It's shown in the diagram. Okay, then select the type of material, aluminium, brass and mild steel. Okay, step 2, the selected specimen is placed on a supporting table and the height is adjusted by rotating hand wheel. Okay, the third step is the load to be applied on a specimen is set by adjusting the knob. It's shown on the diagram. Okay, the step 4, the time up to which load has to be applied for the specimen is adjusted. Then the load is applied for a period of 10 to 15 seconds. Fifth step is apply the selected load by pressing the green button for 2 to 3 seconds until the red light glows. Step 6. The image of the impression will now be clearly visible on the screen. Measure the diagonal length in X directions. Okay, the last step is observation. Observation is equals to result. The result is shown on the table. Okay, next, discussion. In discussion, which principle does Vickers hardness test follows? Okay, the Vickers method has a test load range from 1 GF according to ISO respectively, from 1 GF up to 120 kgf according to ASTM, which means that this method can be used for hardness testing across all load ranges, from the micro to the low load through the macro range. It is an optical method. This means that the size of indentation left by the identer is measured to determine the hardness value of a test specimen. Identer shape and material. The identer is an equilateral pyramid made of diamond with a plane angle of 136 degrees. How Vickers hardness test is different from other hardness tests? Vickers hardness test is alternative to Brenner method to measure the hardness of materials, which is characterize the indentation hardness of materials through the scale of penetration of an identer loaded on a material test piece. Okay, then making use a diamond identer, the Vickers hardness test is done with less force and more accuracy than Brenner test. By minimizing the surface of a material, this test can target specific microstructural constituents like martensite or bainite, or assess the quality of heat treating or surface hardening operations. Okay, then conclusion. In conclusion, the Vickers hardness test is easy to use and its benefits for outweigh any potential disadvantages. The versatility of its use, the fact that it can be used measure the hardness of almost any type of material, still makes it very attractive and widely applicable. Okay, the last one will be the reference. That's all for me. Thank you.